Hi, I'm Dr. Grizelda Anguiano. I'm a board certified pediatrician and an executive function coach. And I want to spend the next 15 minutes on one word: lazy. It's the word I hear more than almost any other from parents. There may be no motivation, and it's in my experience, it's is almost never the right one. One quick note before we start: this is education and coaching. It's not medical advice and it's not a diagnosis for your child. If you have concern about your child, please bring them to your child's doctor. All right, let's climb in. Before we talk about ADHD or executive function at all, I want to start with something a lot of parents feel and almost never say out loud. Sometimes this is exhausting. You know your child is bright, you've watched them do genuinely hard things, and somehow getting shoes on before school can be a 40-minute negotiation. So you say the things, right? I know they can do it. I've told them 100 times. They won't do it. They don't do it. Or they only do it when they want to. They're smart, but da 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 da. Why don't they just try harder? Right? I want to invite you to consider a different question today. What if the problem is not motivation at all? Because when we get this wrong, it costs us something. And the cost isn't just missed homework or forgotten permission slip. The cost is what starts to happen in the relationship. Parents get frustrated, then exhausted, then guilty because you love this kid and you don't want to be the person who is always a little irritated with them. And your child feels ashamed, defeated, misunderstood, and both of you, right? We all start believing a story that isn't actually true. For your child, the story is usually some version of something is wrong with me. And for you, it may be I'm doing this wrong, right? But why is it look so easy for other people? Misunderstanding behavior breaks connection. And connection is the thing we need most to fix all of this. So let's name what we're actually looking at. It's not starting, forgetting, avoiding, procrastination, melting down, shutting down. Every one of those can look like a choice. They rarely are. Behavior is communication. Every one of those six is a clue. It's not a character flaw. And when we treat a clue like a character flaw, we can spend years correcting the wrong thing and wondering why nothing changes. So here's a distinction that's going to change everything. Won't and can't yet are not the same thing. Won't means the skill is there, the capacity is there, and your child is choosing not to engage. That does happen, it's real. Can't yet looks almost identical from the outside, but underneath, your child wants to succeed. They know exactly what you expect, and they don't have the skill or the support yet. Most children with ADHD are not giving you a hard time, they are having a hard time. Executive function lives right in that gap between knowing and doing. Your child can know the answer and still not be able to get at it. So let's meet executive function. Executive function is your brain's management system. I call it the captain, the conductor. It's just the one in charge, the one controlling it all. Here's what I mean by that. On a ship, the crew does the work. The captain decides where the ship is going, what happens first, who does what, and what to do when the weather turns. Executive function is a captain. It helps us start, focus, remember, organize, persist, and regulate our emotions. And here's why this matters so much. Your child can have a very capable crew, meaning plenty of intelligence and plenty of ability, and still have a captain who is just a few years behind. Those are two completely different things, and we mix them up constantly, right? It just doesn't match. The part I really want you to hear is this: the captain is trainable. These are skills, and skills can be built. So, where does ADHD come in? ADHD is not an intelligence problem, it's a wiring difference, and it shows up in the 6 places that sit right on top of the captain's job, right? With all of our executive function skills. Attention, which is really about filtering out what doesn't matter, not about caring. Motivation, which in the ADHD brain runs much more on interest and urgency than on importance. Your child isn't unmotivated, their motivation just runs on a different fuel than yours. Working memory, which holds less and drops more. Emotional regulation. So big feelings arrive fast and arrive big. Time awareness, where there's now and there's not now, and not much in between, right? Or not the due date. It's not the due date. And self-management, which makes it harder to notice in the moment that something isn't working and adjust. And this is exactly why ADHD is so confusing to live with. Right? Your child can do something beautifully on Tuesday and not at all on Wednesday. That inconsistency is the single biggest reason parents land on the word lazy. Because if they did it once, surely they can do it whenever they choose to. But inconsistency is not evidence of choice. It's one of the most reliable signs of an executive function difference. I want to give you a way to hold on, just to hold all of this, right? Because 6 skills and 6 ADHD effects is a lot to carry around at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I built the anchored compass, 4 directions. As the saying goes, if you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there. And I don't want you working on all 12 things at once. North is initiating action, getting started. East is navigating focus, holding on to information long enough to actually use it. South is following through, getting to done. West is adapting under pressure, managing stress and change. Every executive function challenge you are dealing with fits somewhere on this compass. And this isn't about labeling your child, it's about knowing which direction needs support and keeping the strengths in mind as well. Now, here's the same compass in the language you actually use at home. North sounds like he just won't start. The worksheet sits on the table for an hour, untouched, and it isn't defiance. Starting takes a very specific kind of mental effort, and that is a skill that isn't online yet. Needs a little booster. E sounds like I told her 3 things and she did none of them. That isn't disrespect. At a 3-step direction asks working memory to hold more than it can carry. So it drops 1 or 2 or all of them. South sounds like he starts everything and finishes nothing. Half clean room, half done project, 7 open tabs, or 27 open tabs. Starting and finishing are 2 completely separate skills, and we assume they come as a set. West sounds like it was 1 small thing and the whole evening fell apart. 4 different struggles, same misunderstanding, and all 4 of them get called lazy. West deserves its own minute because stress changes everything. If you've seen the hand brain model, here it is, right? So if we have here, this is the thinking part is a captain, and your thumb is the emotional part underneath, and the smarts are here, and usually have a pretty good smarts area, right? So when stress hits, it's happening. So kind of your upper part of the brain is going to go offline. So the lid is flipping if you have never heard of that before. The captain steps down off the bridge, and now, la la, right? So now we have fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And that's where planning goes down. Memory goes down. Flexibility goes down. Emotions go way up high. Those are the ones that are kind of running the whole show. That's not defiance. It's biology, which means the moment you are most tempted to teach a lesson is the exact moment your child can least receive one. And if you've ever tried to think clearly while you were furious or overwhelmed, you already know this from the inside. It works the same way in adults. It's just that nobody calls it lazy, calls us lazy for it. Right? No one. One more thing parents need to hear is support is not enabling. Support is how independence gets built. We don't hand a child a bike with no training wheels and then call the wobbling a character problem. It's good when we put it in different perspectives, right? So What do our kids need most? Less shame, fewer lectures, fewer labels, more structure, more support, more coaching, more collaboration. I want to be specific about the last one, right? Because collaboration is the one most of us skip. It means solving the problem with your child, like instead of at them or instead of, voluntold, if they've been getting voluntold to do things, right? Ask them what the hard part is for them. They usually know, and they've usually never been asked. And sometimes if they say they don't know, it really means that they don't know. And sometimes we just expect an answer so quick. Just pause, give them some space to answer. 1 in 5 children has a mental health or developmental challenge that is significant enough to affect daily life. So if this webinar has felt uncomfortably familiar, yours is not the only house where this is happening, right? Most families just don't say it out loud. I would like it should be easier. So if you take one thing from today, take this question. Instead of asking, why won't my child do this? Ask, what skill is making this difficult? That's it. That's the whole shift. And here is why it works. The first question doesn't have an answer. It just makes you angrier. The second question has an answer almost every time. And that answer points at something that we can actually build, we can actually support. So let's get furious. No, let's get curious, not furious. Curiosity is what leads to real solutions. Whew, that was not a good one. So here's one shift for this week. Just pick one, just a small one, not 5, just one. Let's say we say in the morning routine, the goal is to reduce the launching, the leaving, that stress. So move as much as you can to the night before, the clothes, the backpack, the shoes by the door. Mornings are the worst possible time to ask sleepy captain to make decisions, right? Or if some of the kiddos are on meds, that's not the time. They're not even active yet. Then homework, build structure instead of battles. Same place, same time, and a defined stopping point so there's an end your child can see, right? If you think it's going to be forever, then it'll be hard to get started. Chores, break the task into steps. Clean your room is not a task, it's a project. And projects need to be broken down before anyone can start one. Emotional regulation, co-regulate first, teach second. Your calm is the intervention. It's the energy. It's palpable. Organization, build a system instead of giving reminders. Here's my test. If it needs your memory to work, it isn't a system yet. And choose the one that's causing the most friction in your house right now. Or if there's too much friction, just choose one that you think you'll have some success. Success breeds success. And give it a couple of weeks, right? We can rinse and repeat, see what works, see what needs to be tweaked. Progress beats perfection. And if you want to think this through on paper, go ahead, pause the video here and come back when you're ready. The next session in the series goes deep on one of the most common challenges on the compass, and that's working memory. Why reminders don't stick, why directions disappear somewhere between the kitchen and the stairs, and how to support memory without turning into a nag. It's in the library alongside this one. Take one. And if today made you feel seen, the Anchored Circle is where we keep going. Monthly webinars, live coaching, connection with other parents who actually get it, and practical tools you can use this week. Not because you need more information, because parenting a child with ADHD was never meant to be done alone. 3 next steps, and they follow the same path we've been walking today. Awareness, then understanding, then action. So you can start with the executive function snapshot. That's how you find out which direction on the compass needs the most support in your house. You can join the Anchored Circle for ongoing connection, monthly teaching. You're going to be able to see these replays and comfort group coaching. And when you're ready to build the skills alongside your child, that's the Executive Function Foundations course, right? It's going to be included in the circle, included in the community, and you can even look for how to get the full program. Everything is behind kind of that QR code on the slide, or you can go to anchoredtx.com/bio. Whichever one you choose, I want you to leave with the thing we started with. Your child isn't lazy. Your child is a capable kid with a captain who is still learning the job. They are good inside. And that is something we can build. Skills over shame. Thank you for being here.